you'll have to excuse because I'm still chowing down on those things. So if I start speaking, things starts flying in your direction. Just move out of the way. Yeah, so, hang on 1 second, make sure I've got it right there. Yeah, so my name's Steve Bailey. I'm a chartered physiotherapist, podiatrist and registered acupuncturist. So nutrition is something that I've looked at, and I've looked at it for quite a while, but before I actually start to talk about the products that we've actually got here, what I do want to talk about is just supplementation in general, the background of it. So just to make you more aware with regards to the supplement market in itself. Now, one of the key things is regards to regulation. One of the main thing is you know, I investigated into it a good 20, 30 years ago, and I found it wasn't that well regulated. When I did look again about 12 months ago, I found that regulations hasn't changed much. Most of the regulation is actually put onto the actual companies itself, the nutrition market companies themselves. That's where the regulation lies. And you're finding with the UK, they expect those companies to do the right thing. What they can't do is to go out there and make claims that whatever product's out there is going to cure or treat or anything like that. So that's going to be one of the key things about the regulation. So it does put us into a situation, so if you start to look, it says due to the limited regulations, it's not always clear which supplements are high quality, nor which are waste of your money or even potentially dangerous. Now, if you look at the potentially dangerous part of it, that's mainly because some of these products are bulked out. So you've got the, you know, what you call the pure part of it, and then to make it up in quantities, they'll put fillers in there to bulk them out. And some of those fillers might be toxic. So that's something to be aware of. Now, that being said, you don't know whether there's 10, 15, 20 milligrams. So whatever they put on that packet might not necessarily be in that product as well. Now, there was a study that was actually undertaken in the United States, approximately 31,000 individuals, and what they wanted to look at was those who ate a healthy diet. Those who was eating a healthy diet with regards to would it reduce the risk of heart disease? Also, would it reduce the risk of them dying from that, and also dying from any other disease? What they basically found is, yes, if they put them onto a healthy diet, then that would definitely do that, reduce that. So then they start to look at supplementation, to say, if we put them onto supplements, would it do the same thing? Out of those 30,000, results from that was no. So that's telling you, to a certain extent, most of those supplements that they must have been taken, what they claim to be in that packet isn't necessarily in that packet. Just coming back to myself, as I said, I did investigate, trying to find a good British company that I could recommend to my patients. Supplementation, my patients always asking me about supplementation, so I decided to look into that. Well, the biggest thing is, I wanted a British company for the simple fact that their regulation is a lot more stringent than the USA. Even though it's pretty limited, but it's a lot more stringent. America can't send their products over here into the UK because there's a lot of stuff that is just not legal over here at all. So the key thing is, what I was finding is, when I did narrow it down to 2 companies, one of them, which I thought definitely going to go with this, brilliant website. So I looked at the Which magazine. Which magazine is showing you that they've got so many milligrams of vitamin B in there. But the Image magazine, when they did their investigation and actually took the product and tested it, there was tracer elements in. Yeah, so what they're telling you is in the packet and what is actually in the packet could be 2 different things. So it is important to bear that in mind once you start to compare products on that basis. So that's probably why in America, when it was on those supplements, it didn't really do what they thought it was going to do with regards to these studies. So yes, we are regulated here in the UK, but as I said, the regulation isn't as, you know, stringent as what it should be. It's not like drugs. Drugs is going to be a lot tighter on the regulation, so the onus is actually on the company. unless it's, you know, what you call a reputable company. Now, when it comes on to the vitamins and minerals, now the key thing is, as I said, it's a huge market, it's a rapidly growing market. And that being said, if you start to look at since COVID, how much it's actually increased. So it's in the last few years, it's grown by 25%. So since 2018 to 2023, 25% growth. Now, if you look at the pandemic, just that alone was a 19% growth during the actual pandemic. But if you take into consideration, a lot of people were taking supplements to try and boost the health, the general health. So that was going to be one of the key things. And what they're expecting it to be another 10% growth up to 2028. So between now and 2028, there's going to be another increase with regards to that. Now, one of the situations here is, if you start to look at one of the key areas in which the growth was, is vitamin D. Now, reason for vitamin D is because there were studies going around showing you that if you was taking vitamin D, you were less susceptible to get COVID. So you look at vitamin D, vitamin C was the other one where you've seen quite a bit of a growth within those particular areas. Now, one of the other areas which you saw a big growth in is the 18 to 24-year-old. Yeah? So no doubt parents and that will be cramming them onto it, especially when they're going to university and coming back with these coughs and colds during, I'm going to say inset day, but that's when you're off school, during the Freshers Week and things like that. So that's going to be one of the key areas where there was a big increase in that. Now, if you're looking at the general area throughout the UK, London is the biggest area, 58% within that area. But however, England and Ireland, that's the lowest once you start looking at the UK in general. You're going to find Wales tend to take more supplements within the UK than what they do in England in that respect. And again, if you're looking at sex, women more than men. I mean, from what we see in clinic also, is it's normally a female that's going to ring up about the husband as opposed to the husband ringing up and making the appointment and booking them in, because they're telling you, look, get down there and get that sorted instead of moaning about it. So that's pretty much the situation that you're actually basically seeing there. So women more health conscious in that respect. Now, again, reasons for taking is for general health. Yeah, that's what most people is going to take it, is for general health and well-being. Now, other areas is vitamin deficiency. Now, as I'm coming back to saying, hopefully those who's taking it and what's on that packet is what's on that packet, because if you're taking it for deficiency and it's not living up to its name, then they might not be getting the right amount of nutrients in which they actually need to get. And also 21% would be for healthy joints. So what you're going to basically see within those supplements is going to be things like glucosamine, tyramine, cod liver oil. They're going to be the key ones that you're going to see them taking it for healthy joints. Now, this is a question I normally ask my patients. If I've got patients there and they are taking supplements, it's a question I normally ask them. Do you notice any different? Now, funny enough, it's a question I asked myself one day. You know, I was taking, I don't know if you're familiar with it, Active for Men. That's a supplement for men. You've got Active for Women as well, but it was the male version of that. I've taken it for about 3 years. And I must say, I thought, I'm paying all that money because it's not cheap. I feel no different. So I started looking for something else. Cut long story short, this gentleman here came to me and fetched me to a presentation. And I sat there, looked at it, and thought to myself, oh, hold on a minute, how comes more people don't know about this? So, yes, I started taking colostrum. And I can say, I got up in the morning, yes, I do feel different. You know, I thought to myself, yes, I'm quite a relatively healthy person. So, you know, initially, when I looked at this, I was looking at to give to certain patients with things wrong in that respect. But I'm thinking, I'm a relatively healthy person, so I'm not going to notice much difference. After the first week, I must say, no, I didn't really notice much. Then after a while, I noticed little small things, like my hair grew quicker. My nails grew quicker on my hands and feet. Come to that, I'm cutting my nails a lot more frequent. My stomach felt better. I could eat different things. Certain foods I find that I couldn't eat. Yeah. Whereas now I can eat it. It don't cause me too much of a problem. Yeah. Now, going to the gym, believe it or not, I did notice a difference going to the gym. Yes, I could lift more. So when he got all those poses going to the gym, I just went and stood next to him and lifted a few more. No, I didn't do that. Yeah, but what I'm saying is, I did notice performance-wise in the gym, I could do more naturally. So there were differences that I started to notice in that respect. So that's one of the key things. If you're spending money on something and you're not noticing a difference, then is it actually doing what it needs to be doing? So that's one of the key things is if you're taking supplementation. So that's one of the other key thing is what they basically do turn around to you and say the quality. Quality is important, and how do you know you've got a good quality? Yeah. So what it points out, if you go onto the net and you look at a lot of your nutritionists that's out there, one of the main things that they'll turn around to you and say, do not buy it off the internet. Why? Because it's not regulated. You've got to go somewhere like a shop, a reputable shop, then they are regulated and they can put in there something that has been checked. Yeah, so that's going to be quite important. I went into Holland & Barrett's. I'm thinking, let's see if I could get some of that colostrum from Holland & Barrett's. And I went venturing there, and the first thing they turned around to me and said, no. The only place you're going to get colostrum, let's get it right, is off the internet. And that was actually what I would advise. I didn't tell them otherwise, but they were just pointing that out. So if you start to look at literature on purchasing things on the internet, that's when a key thing is they're going to talk about the quality of what you're going to get. Yeah? The quality is not going to be as good in that respect. That brings me on to what we've got here. So I'll just start with what we've got here, and then I'll show you what was actually out there on the net, and you can make your own comparison with regards to that. So it's called Alpha Lipid Lifeline. Now, it's the Alpha Lipid. It's got trademark to it, it's got patent to it. There's a good reason for that, because it serves as a very important function. Now, I don't know if any of you is familiar with what you call a nanoparticle. This isn't one, but it works in the same way. Yeah? So it's something that they've produced. Nanoparticle is something that you'll put into either food, or they'll use it on the medical profession in order to whatever they're going to put inside you gets to its desired target. Yeah? So in other words, if they want to check your heart and they put a substance into you, these nanoparticles is going to take that substance to the heart, so that when they do a scan or whatever it is, now it can light up that part of the heart. Yeah? It'll also, if they want to look at certain part of your stomach, it'll do pretty much the same thing. Now, the importance of this is colostrum to a baby, as they consume that colostrum, it's got to get through the stomach. The acid in a child isn't going to be like the acid in an adult. Okay? So the alpha lipid acts in a similar manner. It acts like a nano particle. In other words, it allows the colostrum, so it coats the colostrum and it allows to pass through the stomach undamaged, or with as little damage as possible, to get to the large and small intestine, because that's where it's going to have its biggest function. Okay? So that's the main purpose of that. If you look at any other colostrum on the market, it doesn't have that. So a lot of it, what there is going to be of it, is going to be destroyed in the stomach before it gets to its target as to where it's going to have its desired effect. So that's the alpha lipid. Those of you who's wondering what it is, what's its purpose, what does it serve. So it is quite important to bear that in mind if you start to make comparison with other colostrum that's actually there on the market. Secondly, I just want to point out how much is in it. 450 grams. So that's how much is in this tin. A serving is 16 grams. You've got 28 to 30 days servings in a tin. Okay, so I just want you to all bear that in mind. Oh, we've got some mathematicians here. Okay, so once you start to look on the internet as to what's actually available, so this is one that's actually out there, 800 milligrams per serving. Okay, it's a 60 gram bag. Okay, now if you start to look at the cost, for if you was to take out their membership, in other words, you pay and you order it on a monthly basis where they just automatically send it out to you, then they'll charge you $16.99. Otherwise, it's $29.99 per bag. So you might jump on there and think, "Whoa, that's a bargain." For ours, what we recommend you to do is to pay £20 for your membership. Yeah? You pay £20, then you're going to actually purchase this at what you classify as wholesale price. That's £45 and some pence. Okay? So you might look at that and think that's a bargain. Okay, so let me just point out a few facts to you. 60 gram, if you was to get 400 grams of that, that's going to work out at £129. Okay, for the same amount as to what you've paid £45 for. Okay, so let's look at quality. What you're basically getting here is per serving is 2 grams.
That's crazy.
You're getting 16 grams per serving. Lasted the same time period. So what you've got to bear in mind is, if you, let's say for example, you've paid £129 for that. So now you've got your 450 grams, and you're getting 16 grams per serving, and you're only getting 2 grams. Obviously, they're filling it out with something else. Does everybody understand? Yeah? Here you've got pure colostrum. There, they're putting something else into that packet besides colostrum. Yeah? Okay, so that's just something you need to bear in mind. So where you think you've got a bargain, it isn't. Now this is quite a popular brand. Okay? So again, if you was to purchase that, it's been reduced down from 109 to 98.99. So again, there it's showing you at 500 grams. But each serving, you're only going to get 10 grams. So in other words, you've got more in there than you have in here. Both lasted the same time period, but out of each serving of this, you're getting 16 grams. Out of each serving of that, you're getting 10 grams. But then it's telling you, you've got to be careful of some additives, such as eggs, soya, cereal. These are the stuff it might contain. Gluten, fish. I mean, I don't know what fish is doing in there, but you know. So these are things that, other products that you're going to find within that. In other words, it's not pure colostrum. Yeah? So that's just something else to bear in mind on that. So this is another powder. I mean, I could go on. Again, each helping, you're getting 3 to 5 grams per helping. You get 450 grams of that, it's going to work out at £141. So does everybody see where I'm going? Okay, I don't have to go through them all. This is another one claiming it's organic, but once you start to look at it, it's got additives in. Okay, and it's even got the filler, which is a bulking agent. What you call it, is it rice bran, which is a bulking agent. So again, you can start to see where each one of these is actually going. So main reason why I put that in there is because I did have a patient that thought they got a better deal online. I was trying to explain to her is I did spend time looking at the company in which I was recommending, but obviously they'd already spent. So the key thing is what the product aims to do is to boost your immune response. And that's what you'll find most of them will actually talk about is the immunoglobulin that's in there. But it's a lot more than the immunoglobulin that's in there, but we'll come on to that in a short while. But if you look at our body, especially the way things are now, we are constantly being bombarded by different parasites, particles. More and more people's getting hay fever, asthma. You know, all that's on the increase, and a lot of that is from what we put into our foods, what's pollutant we're actually getting into the air. So it is a situation that, you know, you start to look at key things as to what's going to weaken your immune system. So vitamin deficiency is going to be one of them. So if you look at the way they form our food these days, you're not getting the full nutrients in it in what we used to. because it's not just the food, they pick it too soon, it's the soil. That's lacking in nutrients. Sleep is going to be a huge thing. Sleep is very important. So it's like I say, anybody ever wonder why babies sleep so much? There's a good reason, because that's when it grows. Most of the growth is when you're sleeping. If somebody's ill, that's when you're going to recover, is when you're sleeping. That's when your body releases things like growth factors and other melatonin, things like that is actually released when you're actually sleeping. So those are things that's going to get into the body and start the repair process. So sleep is quite important. Now, if you take somebody who's in pain, for example, so if you take somebody, fibromyalgia, multiple sclerosis, those two conditions that can be quite painful. Now, anybody who's suffering from any kind of pain, lack of sleep is going to cause next day pain to be a lot worse. Okay? So sleep is quite important. Now, we're all familiar with stress. I always say it's the precursor to many things, many diseases and everything else that kicks off is stress. It causes your body to release cortisol, and that starts to suppress your immune system. So once you get suppressed immune system, now your body is more susceptible to picking up other conditions such as that. Now, reactive oxygen species. Now that's something that I think a lot more people need to be aware of, and what oxidative stress is. So if you look at a lot of disorders, particularly coming from diabetes, for example, if you look at peripheral neuropathy, that comes on from reactive oxygen species. Aging comes on from that. So a lot of conditions will actually come on from that. So that's quite important to bear that in mind. So therefore, what you bear is, once you start to look at this has got a lot of antioxidants in. And antioxidant plays a huge part. So I know once I start to look at most of these colostrum online, they all talk about IgG. I say it's got a lot more than that. That's in there, such as your antioxidant, which is quite important. Your growth factors, which is going to be very important. But overdoing it, yeah, I think we all do that sometimes. Work ourselves to the bone, but that's society now. We do a lot more than what we used to. Not enough recovery time. Even exercising. Some of your high-end athletes, if they exercise too hard, especially in hot weather, you're going to get a lot of this. That's going to actually start to build up and then start to cause them problems later on. So it is important to get a fine balance in regards to that. So that brings me on to the leaky gut and the importance of the colostrum with regards to the leaky gut, because from a leaky gut that will cause a whole heap of problems. So just to give you a quick explanation as to what a leaky gut is. I mean, if you're to look it up, the term leaky gut, it is not an official medical term in that respect, but however, if you was to take the lining of your stomach, it's what you call semi-permeable. So somebody who's got a healthy stomach will allow certain nutrients, once it gets into there, to actually pass through that semi-permeable lining. However, if you're suffering from stress, if you've got training hard in hot weather, if you're quite a few things, taking not vitamins, medicine, vitamins not good that. If you're taking certain medication such as antibiotics, all that's going to have a damaging effect on the actual stomach in that respect. Once it starts to damage the lining of the stomach, that's where it allows certain things to pass through that wouldn't normally pass through. Okay? So if you talk about the gut biome in your stomach, it's good. You can talk about this good, healthy gut biome. While it's in your stomach, that's good. The minute it passes through, that's bad. Because now your body's going to have to start to fight against that. Okay? So that's going to start to get to joints, other parts of the body, and start to cause problems. Okay? So whether it gets to your eyes, whether it gets to your joints, your kidneys, it will start to cause problems. The other problem that you're going to now have is if you've got a leaky gut, you eat your food, the nutrients you take up ain't going to be as good anymore, because your stomach's not functioning in the same way. So, that being said, is That's the first protocol of colostrum. That's why they say take it in the morning, half an hour before breakfast. It has, as we mentioned before, the alpha lipid lifeline that coats it for it to get through your stomach to get to where it needs to start to do its work. Okay? Once there, then it starts to have its healing effect. Same again, on top of that, you've got your immunoglobulins in there. And you've also got your growth factors. Those growth factors are quite important because they're what's going to start to fix the mucous membrane and the lining of your stomach. So that's where the repair process starts to come in then, you see. So it has, so even though, as I said, a lot of them will talk about the immunoglobulin, it needs the growth factors for the repair. Okay, so that's just going to be just as important in that respect. So once you start to talk about colostrum itself, well, it wells most research food. But on top of that, if you look at this research article that was done here, it reviewed over 145 different articles. Right? At the end of it, the team turned around and said, based on different research evidence, we can regard bovine colostrum as the single most important food in the world. Wow. Yeah? So it's not where they've just gone out there and looked at one paper. But what you've got to bear in mind is, can you name any other food source that's got in it what bovine colostrum, well, when I say bovine colostrum, it doesn't matter what colostrum you're talking about, because I'm saying you've got goats, you've got pig, you've got human colostrum. There ain't any other food source that has got the same amount of nutrients that's actually packed into it. Okay? So that's, you know, one of the key things that you need to take into consideration with regards to it. So, as I was saying, you know, what exactly is it? Now, I know some of you will look at your capsules and you look at your tin, just to highlight to you. Your tin is huge, you can list what's in there. Where your capsule, the packet, you're not going to get all that information on. Colostrum's colostrum at the end of the day. So what I'm saying is all these vitamins that you see on here is naturally found in colostrum. Okay? They're just not listed it on there. So just something to bear in mind if somebody wants the capsules as opposed to the actual tablets itself. So as I said, it contains at least 97 different immunoglobulins. Okay? And also, at least once you start to look at your growth factors, at least 87 different growth factors. See, so once you start talking about defending the body and also repairing it at the same time, it's all found in colostrum all in one place. In addition to that, then you've got your antioxidants. And then when I'm, again, on the tin, there's quite a few antioxidants that's not even listed, that is naturally found in colostrum. Okay? So, and some of these are quite important ones as well, which is naturally found in it. So again, that is quite important for aging. It's quite important for defending your body against, you know, other things that may well invade it. Is the antioxidants in that respect. So that's going to be quite important. Again, if you start to look at your vitamins, you've got your A, B, C, D, and E. You've got your minerals in there, which is all your magnesium, selenium, and zinc. And that's just just a few of the minerals that you actually get in there. So what I'm saying is, it is packed with quite a few very important nutrients that you're going to find. Now, once you start to look at the different range of products that New Image supplies, not all of them is actually available here in the UK. Only some of them is available in the UK. So you've got mainly immune support, and particularly with COVID around, still hovering around, and same again the flu. That's where a lot of the immune support will actually start to come in. And I can see a lot of people, you know, will be taking it, you know, particularly for that reason. You've got also your nutritional support, your weight management, and also skin care. As far as I'm aware, that's not available here yet, is it?
No, but it will be soon.
Skin care. I mean, I will be on my skin anyway. Keeps me looking pretty. But anyway, coming back to the actual product itself. So once you start talking about quality, Taiwan has actually given it its seal of approval. So this is coming from the country itself, seal of approval. So they're happy with how it's working with their people over in Taiwan in that respect. So the other key thing is, so once you start to look at the alpha lipid in itself, what you've got, it boosts the immune system, and we've already talked about gut health, supports teeth and bones. So you have got your calcium in there, you've also got your growth factors in there that will actually support your teeth and bones. You've got aids in healing and repair. Now, if you come on to healing and repair, and you start looking at diabetic wounds, for example, now that's a good one to take into consideration. So you've got your diabetic wounds. There are quite a few studies out there where you've got non-healing wounds. So the reason why I'm saying diabetic wounds, because of the diabetes, it normally affects the nerves. Poor nerve supply, poor healing. So you need a good nerve supply to stimulate the healing process. So in other words, if that's compromised, the healing process is compromised. So when they're having problems healing, the dressing is going to be quite important to try and encourage that healing to take place. What the basic found is non-healing wounds. They put colostrum powder into the bandage, wound healed. Yeah?
Very true.
So I'm not talking about one study, I'm talking about several studies that's actually covered that.
Very true.
That's enhanced the healing rate with regards to open wounds of diabetic ulcers and things like that. So again, improves tissue, muscle, and also heart. That's going to be your IgG. That will actually do that, accelerate and also improve muscle strength, reduce the aging of muscle. So that's pretty much what that does as well. And again, also supports healthy aging, but the antioxidants will also do that as well. So that's going to be quite important. And also with regards to your growth factor, when you start talking about collagen, fibroblast growth factors will allow the collagen to be a lot more effective. So that brings us, as I was saying, and onto the capsule. Important thing to bear in mind as the capsule is the strength of what's in the capsule isn't the same as the strength of what's actually in the tin. So per servings, you're going to get more in the tin, gram-wise, in comparison to the capsule. So that's just something to bear in mind with regards to that. Now, your immune boost. Now, key thing is immune fort. So again, if you've got coughs, colds, and you're going to be in an environment where you're going to be open to picking up coughs and colds, particularly like where I work, I've got patients coming in. I don't like colds, so I keep my door closed. So when you come in, what you got is a lot of coughs, colds, and things like that that could be going round. So either I've got to keep my window open, keep it all ventilated, fumed, or I can take this. So that has been shown in a number of studies to be quite effective once you start looking at things like the SARS virus. Yeah? It's also been in influenza and also respiratory problems. So it's been shown to be quite effective in regards to that. One of the key things they do tend to put out there is your IgG. But once you start to look at the colostrum as a whole and you're looking at your immune system as a whole, then it's not just the IgG that's in there. There's other immune factors that's in there that will also protect the body. Okay? So that's going to be, like vitamin D, which is also packed with, vitamin C, your magnesium, your zinc, they're quite important for the immune system. Okay? That brings me on to the cold stem. I must admit, I started taking this. I just take the one capsule as opposed to the recommended 2, but it recommends that you take 2 a day. Now, it was a while before I noticed any difference with this. And, again, I always look at myself as being relatively fit, so there's not much I kind of feel that I was going to notice, but I thought I'm going to try it anyway. And the biggest difference I found was in just the cupboard in the house. And it's when I used to have to pack things away into it and get down and have to, get down and squat to get into the cupboard. It was the getting back up. Yeah. I didn't want to put that thought process that some people put there is I'm getting old. Yeah, so it was more the getting back up. That's the only time my knees used to kind of give me a little bit of ache, was the getting back up. Since I've been taking it, I must say it's not immediate. I must have been a good 2-3 weeks in. I notice I'm getting back up and I'm not thinking about it anymore. So yes, I did find a difference, but that's me in regards to that. So it is, something where I've noticed difference. Just coming back to the colostrum as well, is you don't just need to consume it, you can rub it on. Yeah, so I have used it on my son. He wasn't taking it for skin where he got his acne on his face, so he wasn't actually taking it. He just couldn't get rid of his acne, so I said to him, there's my tin, tipped some out into a little tub for him, gave it to him and said, right, just start putting that on either before you go to bed or first thing in the morning. And that's all he did. And that started to, I mean, he's taking it now, don't get me wrong, but it started to pretty much cleared up his acne on his face. And he was getting quite frustrated, and he'd used all sorts on it. He spent a lot of his pocket money on trying to get medication to get rid of that. So quite impressive. And as I said, its ability to heal wounds a lot quicker. So again, it's worth rubbing it in. Now coming back to the diet. So you've got your diet 2, which we've not got here to demonstrate to you. I've not used this myself, but I'm sure Dino here will explain.
He can.
Oh,
Des.
Oh,
Des.
Okay.
No, Des can. Big time. In a
takes
month.
the diet 2. So as I said, if you wanted to know more about that, he can give you a little bit more. But once you start looking at your daily protein, 40 grams of that, so you've got a good proportion of your protein in. So what you basically find is low in calories, but all the other nutrients packed with it. So that's the important thing. Keep the calories low, but you've got all the required nutrients that you're going to need. Here, same again, low in calories, but all your daily fibres that you actually require. So that's going to be the other key benefits of your Fibre Max. So the combination of the two is giving you your all-round diet in which you actually want to utilise if you're looking at losing weight. And from what I've been informed also, it keeps you full.
Damn right.
Okay, so that's going to be one of the key things. Now coming on to this one, I started utilising this at the beginning of the week. So I have Lucy here, as she's sitting here nice and quiet, and I have Katie bringing all sorts of chockies and whatnot into clinic, and I'm trying to be good, yeah? But I do have a problem. My biggest problem is, I have my breakfast in the morning, I go into work. By the time I get to 10 o'clock, I need food, you know, and by the time if I've not eaten anything by 11 o'clock, it's any food. So I used to, have my cake and that, and then Kate would come in with something, and I'm trying not to eat it, but there's too much goodies there that needs to be eaten. So what I'm saying is, I thought, right, okay, I'm going to try and eliminate that completely. And I was sat there reading a leaflet to that, and it said, it's something you take in between to kind of fill that hunger gap type thing. Low in calories, plenty of nutrients in there beside the calories. So I started to take it on Monday, and I must admit, I'm impressed. I weren't expecting to be, because I know what I'm like. But yes, the thing is, don't wait till you're hungry to take it though, because it takes a while to kick in. Yeah. So I make sure I'll have it by around about 10 o'clock at the latest. So now I've noticed for a couple of days I didn't even think about eating anything, but my lunch of course, and I was able to go without snacking or even eating little, chocolate or anything like that throughout the day. So I must say it has made a big difference. But as I said, you don't wait till you're hungry before you take it. So if you know that you're going to start to get hungry at a certain time, you take it before. So therefore, it's kicked in by the time that hunger starts to kick itself in. Okay. Now, just to finish off, is with regards to the colostrum, world's best, if not the best. Now, once you start to look at the standards and what they're actually doing, checking on them, it's not got antibiotics. So we know that the cows and things like that hasn't got a lot of the antibiotics pumped into them. They're not grain fed with a lot of hormones that's actually going to go into that feed. It's grass fed all year round. Now, you can't say that for certain other places, depending on where it's located. Why? I mean, New Zealand is warmer than the UK. So therefore, unless they're up in a certain parts of New Zealand where they may well get snow, otherwise, if they're lower down, it don't generally snow, and you're talking around about 10 degrees in their winter months. So therefore, the cows can go out and feed on the grass in that respect. So they're going to be key things where some of these, which I was looking at some of these products, and they were trying to tell you that it's grass fed, and I'm thinking, well, in that country it can't be, because it freezes. You know, you're under so many feet of snow, but they're claiming it's grass fed in that respect. And then they're also saying it's organic, but then it's got fillers in. So how can it be organic in that respect? So they're things you just need to take a look at. 172 patents and also trademarks, which is, you know, to stop other companies copying. So that's going to be one of the key things, which is only available on the new Image Colostrum. And same again with regards to the actual batch. Each batch is tested and double checked with regards to meeting their industry and food safety guidelines. Now, just to point out, theirs is much higher standards than what you've got here in the UK. So just to make you aware of that. Now, if you look at the equipment that they've got, they have spent a lot of money on that equipment. And in regards to making sure that the products meet certain standards in which they want it to actually meet, such as the powder spray dry, that's going to be one of the key things that they're actually going to utilise, a lot of the actual technology. Now, in order to upgrade, they did 50 million upgrade on the actual manufacturing side of it. And this is their former president, Sir John Key, who actually came and opened up that port with regards to the actual factory itself. Now, just coming back to, they used to call this chap the Sleepy Prime Minister, because he had diabetes. And it was one of his cabinet ministers that actually introduced him to colostrum. And since he's been on the colostrum, he's managed to come off his insulin injections for his diabetes. So that's just showing you some of the power of colostrum, where you've got the former Malaysian Prime Minister able to come off his insulin injection, which is quite interesting in that respect. Mm. So, that's been said, that's me done. Thank you for listening. I'm now going to hand you back over to Nash. So if